Okay, we're on a new project here. Now that I have 240 volt circuit in my garage, it's time to rewire this table saw Delta 36-725 to 240 volt service. So follow the directions. It's very easy. So we're going to cut the end off just like that. I'm going to strip back. Some of the sheathing. Need better lights in here. This is tough stuff. All right. Okay. This is 14 gauge. So we strip back a little bit. About ½ inch. Again, you got 2 hots and a ground. So you use white as a hot. Black is a hot, green is ground. And the connector is it's like a 6-15, I believe, P or something like that. So this is what it looks like. It's got a ground, 2 hots that are turned sideways. So you got straight up and down is a 15 amp plug for 125 volts. Sideways is 15 amps on both. And if one of them's turned the other way, it can be a 250 volt plug with 20 amps. So I've actually got a 20 amp circuit, but I'm going to put a 15 amp, which is totally illegal, on the table saw, which is what is recommended. All right, so get our connector apart. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put the wires through the back shell, don't forget that. And these are just like squeeze connectors, so that's what I call them. Alright, ground first. And we'll do white, which is a hot in this case. It's a little long, so let's trim that off. Okay, now we got black. It's another hot. Okay, that's it. So it's got a little grounding spring, I guess you'd call it, inside the connector, and there's a little shelf, like a tab. That's what grounds out the metal part of the plug. So you just got to make sure you line that up and line up the screws. Kind of like that, and then we tighten these screws down and we're done with this part of the conversion. These plugs are kind of cheap. I got them on Amazon, but they work good. It's an industrial type plug, and it's got a squeeze clamp on the back to clamp down on the strain relief. So we tighten that up. So again, at 240 volts, well, at 120 volts, this saw pulls 15 amps. So 13 to 15. 15 at startup, I think. So that's why you got to run it on a 20 amp circuit if you're going to run it at 115 volts. However, when you convert it to 240, it runs at half the amperage. So it's running at about 6 amps. Couple of good things about that is, one, the motor runs better, spins up quicker. Doesn't have to work as hard, and two, you're only drawing 6 amps, so you're not overloading any one circuit. Even though I've got a dedicated 240 volt circuit, I can run other tools on that circuit too. And also, you don't have to change out to 20 amp wire when you're doing this. In fact, you can drop down a wire size. That's why this is like 14 gauge or 16 gauge wire, because you're only passing 6 amps. So a lot of advantages to doing this. And connector is now done. And I've got to go underneath the saw and do one more conversion, and then we'll be up and running at 240 volts. I'm going to take the side panel off of the table saw. There's 4 screws. And then inside, and it's going to be terrible trying to see this. So inside here, there's this little plastic cover that's on this switch right here. You take that off, and then if you see right there, there's a switch that says 120 volts. And or 115, and you switch that. To 230. If you can see that. Probably can't. Let me get my screwdriver out of the way. So right there, 230. Okay, so that's it. We should have 240 volts to the table saw. I've plugged it in. I made an extension cord the same kind of way. I bought 2 connectors. I actually bought a 14 gauge 25-foot extension cord, normal extension cord. Cut the ends off of both ends, and then I bought the 240 volt connectors, 6-15 or whatever they are, 15 amp, 240 volt. Put a male on one end and a female on the other, made an extension cord, plenty of gauge wire there to take 6-7 amps. So without further ado, here we go. I definitely started faster. Otherwise, it's probably got about the same power as it did before. It's just not pulling maximum amperage on a 15 amp circuit. So totally worth the upgrade, I think. I'm gonna love that. And now I'm set up as well for additional 240 volt tools if I need to purchase a new tool. And I think I'll be very happy now with the conversion on the table saw. So thanks again. If you like this video, smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps me a lot. And I've got a whole ton of videos coming. Just out here trying to wrap up a bunch of those projects to get the videos complete. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.